In the heart of South Los Angeles, where gang culture runs deep, loyalty is earned, not bought, and respect? That's a whole different currency. But in 2017, the streets were shaken by a name that didn't quite fit the usual narrative. Cameron Terrell. This wasn't your typical Rollin 90s Crip. Cameron was white, rich, from Palos Verdes. Raised in a multi-million-dollar home with a layover for a dad and an interior designer mom, but despite having everything most people could dream of, he wanted something else, something dangerous, something that couldn't be found behind gated communities and BMWs. This is the story of how a privileged teen from the suburbs dove headfirst into gang life and ended up on trial for murder. From Palos Verdes to South Central. Cameron Terrell grew up in one of the wealthiest zip codes in California. Palos Verdes is quiet, safe, and far removed from the realities of South LA, but around 2016. When he was 17, Cameron started hanging out at Jesse Owens Park, deep in the Rollin 90s Crip territory. Locals say he'd show up often, sometimes alone, sometimes with other members. No one knew what drew him in. Was it the thrill, the rebellion, or a search for belonging that money couldn't buy? Whatever it was, he got in deep. He started repping the Rollin 90s, hanging with known members, and even allegedly put in work. They gave him a nickname, Too White Boy, and he didn't just accept it, he embraced it. On October 1st, 2017, 2 young Crips, both minors at the time, planned to hit back at rivals in the Rollin 100s. It was supposed to be a retaliation move. Cameron was behind the wheel of a black Mercedes-Benz, his dad's car. The shooters jumped in. Minutes later, they spotted Justin Holmes, a 21-year-old with no known gang ties, standing near 78th Street and Western, mistaking him for a rival. One of the passengers got out and opened fire. Justin Holmes was hit and later died from his wounds. The attackers fled the scene, and just hours later, Cameron returned to Palos Verdes, back to his normal life, but the streets were talking. And LAPD was listening. The arrest and shockwaves. By October 12th, LAPD had arrested Cameron Terrell along with the 2 shooters. When the news broke, people couldn't believe it. A clean-cut white teen from a rich suburb in a Crip murder case? It didn't make sense, but there he was in booking photos, in gang databases, and in front of the judge. Authorities said Cameron was more than just a driver. They claimed he was part of the planning, that he knew what was going down, and that he wanted to be part of it. Prosecutors charged him with first-degree murder and attempted murder, saying he was just as responsible as the shooter, while his co-defendants remained behind bars. Cameron was released on a $5 million bail posted by his parents. He returned to school Palos Verdes High, and that sparked outrage. His classmates protested. Parents were furious. Students walked out, saying his presence made them feel unsafe. Prosecutors brought gang experts. They showed his social media flicks with blue rags, gang signs, and Rollin 90s captions. They claimed he was obsessed with the lifestyle. They even said he watched rap videos about gang retaliation before the murder went down. They said he didn't know what was going to happen, that he was just a kid hanging with the wrong crowd, that he didn't pull the trigger, that being in the car didn't mean he was guilty. And then came the twist that nobody saw coming. In July 2018, after a high-profile trial, the jury came back with a decision: not guilty. Cameron Terrell walked free, acquitted on all charges. People were stunned. Some said it was justice. Others called it a slap in the face. Many believed it was privilege at play, that if Cameron was black or Latino, he'd be doing life without parole. But legally, there wasn't enough to prove he knew murder was going to happen. No text, no voice recordings, just association. And in the court of law, that wasn't enough. Cameron disappeared from the public eye. He wiped his social media, transferred schools. Some say he moved out of California altogether. Others claim he's still connected to the streets, just laying low. The 2 minors charged in the case, their records are sealed, but it's believed they were convicted. And as for the Holmes family, they're still grieving, still demanding answers, still feeling like justice was never served. And Cameron Terrell's story isn't just about one kid and one murder. It's about 2 different worlds colliding. It's about race, class, and how the justice system treats people differently depending on where they come from. It's about a gang lifestyle that lures kids from every background, and the justice system that sometimes feels anything but just, was Cameron a lost kid trying to find identity, or a tourist in a life he didn't fully understand until it was too late? Whatever the truth is, one thing is clear: the streets don't forget, and neither does the family of Justin Holmes.